You're listening to Under the Shell Podcast. After all these years, still the best in America.
Welcome to Under the Shell, presented by Inside the Black and Gold. I'm Brendan Weissel.
Sam Jane.
And Michael Howes, and we are back with another season of Under the Shell.
We are back, baby.
Some are calling it the final ride. Season 8. Unbelievable.
Nobody's calling it that but us, but I messed with it.
Yeah.
It's all good. It's our we're heading into season 8, as Brendan said. We hit episode 100, crazy. Now we're going to try to get to 125 and more, and bring some awesome guests to you all season long. Michael and I are now alumni of the University of Maryland. Give
it up to the boys.
Brendan is still in school, but he is only one semester away from graduating. That's all to say.
12 credits, boys. 12 credits.
That's all to say. We have been honored to if you've listened to any of our episodes this past 4 year, we've been honored to kind of talk with you about Maryland athletics. And we're going to do that for a few more months. So guys, enough hodgepodge, wishy-washy remembrances and stuff.
And we got a lot of episodes to go.
Let's get into an awesome interview and then a great episode recapping all the stuff that's gone down in Maryland athletics for a while and for what's to come.
All right, for the first episode of Season 8, we are pleased to be joined by Chris Van Jura, the owner of Catalyst Hot Dogs, the sponsor of this podcast, but more importantly, a main staple of Maryland athletics at basketball and football games, and a part of some of the marketing production out there, usually with a hot dog cannon. We're going to break down all of that. But Chris, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, man. Happy to be here. What an intro. I should bring you along everywhere I go. That's, make me feel good. I'm glad to be under the shell. It's an honor and privilege. Thanks for having me out, Mike. Thanks for having me out, Brent. Appreciate it, guys.
We are so excited to have you here. Let's take it way back at the start of Catalyst Hot Dogs. Take us through the beginning.
How far do you want to go back? You want to go back to the 80s, the 90s? What do you want to do?
The 60s, whatever. Take us through it.
Don't age me that way. I mean, I'm older than you guys, but I'm not at all. Look, the long and short of it is we're a classic hot dog joint. I've been in hospitality, been in restaurants for over 20 years. I got my first restaurant job in college. You guys are you undergrads or you grads? I forget. Where are you at right now?
I have one semester left. Mike graduated in December.
All right, so Mike, you're in the real world. We expect results today, right? That's what's going on. Anybody got my Ghostbusters reference, you get a hot dog on me. But I got my first restaurant job my sophomore year of college, bussing tables at a brewery in Danbury, Connecticut, Western Connecticut. Go. They're the Wolves now, but they weren't the Wolves when I was there. And I made my way through restaurants. But before that, I was a teenager and hanging out in northern New Jersey. Where we got a lot of hot dog joints. And as we were coming of age and we got our driver's license and stuff, we were going out and gallivanting and doing things. I remember vividly there was a pitch and putt mini golf course where I learned how to play the game called Hillman's Golfland in Elmwood Park, New Jersey. And you go there, we play 9, hit a bucket, and then we go down 46 to the Hot Grill. And the Hot Grill is, that's Mecca for me. That's like the place where if I could model Catalyst on anything, it would be the Hot Grill. That's kind of where it started. And as we fast forward through my hospitality journey, made my way through, was wearing a suit, slinging expensive wine, meeting the president, past presidents, and just, living that hospitality life. And then COVID hit. But before COVID, while I was in a suit, making a salary and doing this, I just said, I just want to open a hot dog joint. I just want to open a little hot dog. We could feed everybody. It's affordable. It's not exclusionary in any way. And I love hot dogs. So COVID hit, and at the time I had a mortgage and a newborn, and it was like, we got to do something, or I got to do something. And I said, well, it's time to stop talking about it. It's time to start doing it. And we launched a crowdfunding campaign. An old colleague of mine who I bartended with years ago designed our logo. What's up, Franklin? And I mean, I hate to fast forward like 5 years because there's hundreds of thousands of hot dogs and thousands upon people in between, roughly June 2020 when it kind of really started to where we are right now in February 26 or January 26. But yeah, that's kind of the long and short.
So where did the name come from, Catalyst? Where did that come from?
Glad I got tissues nearby. I don't want to make this a heavy podcast, but 14 years ago, we lost my oldest brother. Pretty sudden, kind of came out of nowhere. My parents' firstborn. It's right before Thanksgiving. Like, look, you guys lose if you've lost somebody yet, and you will. Part of life is losing people. That one sucked more so than any other so far. And during that time, this was like the week before Thanksgiving or the week of Thanksgiving. So, and being a sudden loss of a young man in a small town with a wide web of friends, there was a lot of people were really fortunate that we had showered with love. And over that week, I'll be honest with you guys, I don't remember a lot. Maybe it was the Jameson, maybe it was the trauma. I don't remember a ton from that week, but I do vividly remember being at one of the viewings, and one of his dear friends from the Harrisburg area, which is where he was settled at that time, shared with us something we kind of knew but didn't know all of. He was making bagels. He was taking water from Jersey, and he would bring it back to Harrisburg, and he was playing with making bagels in his home kitchen. And he was already an entrepreneur at the time. He was an event booker for Greenbelt Management, which is his company, and they were doing the concerts at Appalachian Brewing Company in Harrisburg. But that person shared with us, he was making bagels, and he had talked about opening up a bagel and coffee shop, and he was going to call it The Catalyst. And that was it. I remember in that moment, I remember turning to the woman whom I was with at that time and saying, all right, well, that'll be it. That's the name. Which goes to also, in that story, and it goes to say that even in 2012, I was already thinking about what was I going to do? How was I going to open my own thing and create something? But, I joke about this, but like the name, it was one of the easiest things we had to do in the beginning. That was there. It was there waiting for us.
That was one of the easiest things. What were some of the struggles? What were some of the hardships you had to overcome before you could open Catalyst Hot Dogs?
I don't know, but like before opening, like I don't mean to downplay it. we raised about $35,000. A lot of things came together pretty. I don't like not to get all foo-foo, but like organically or whatnot. Like I found our trailer. We had bought a house in Silver Spring. We were moving from the upper northwest cathedral area, DC, and I had to go on a detour one day. I didn't know where we were going. I'm driving down Randolph Road, and boom, there's a trailer on the side of the road. It was just there. I've been looking marketplace and looking for things like I hadn't found this, and it was just there. And so we found that, and raised the money, and the menu kind of came together because we were doing simple classics. I had kind of known the menu, known what it was going to be. I would say the fun challenge was deciding on what hot dog we were going to use. Because of my time in restaurants, I had friends who were vendors. I had a friend at the time who was a vendor for a company called Fells Point Meats. Fells Point Meats is based up in Baltimore, nowhere near the real Fells Point, but based up in Baltimore. And I said, hey, I'm working on opening up a little hot dog joint. I want all beef dogs. No pork. I want all beef dogs. Can you get me some samples? And I met him. If anybody knows this, there's a Costco on like South Dakota Avenue or something, like right off of Route 50 in DC. I met him in that parking lot to do like a hand-to-hand for hot dog samples. And he gave me, I want to say we had like 6 different samples. And that was a challenge just in deciding it. But, the joke is like the best and worst decision I ever made was going with Rosetta Farm hot dogs, which is who we use. It's a premium Black Angus dry aged all beef hot dog that you guys know from reading your copy. But it's great. They're just expensive. So, the context that everybody has with a hot dog is like, yeah, give me $1, I'll give you a hot dog. I can't do that. I just can't do that. So I would say that was probably one of the fun challenges. The other challenges, though, like to go back into this, like I'm an athlete. I was 10 years. I was a 3-sport athlete in high school. There was a time where I was going to go to college for football. But my 5'9", 210 pounds soaking wet couldn't really translate. So I ended up being a theater major, but that's another story. We don't have to do that here. But I think the real challenges come on those long days when, for the first, I have a gentleman who's been working with me since we were 6 months old, but he was extremely part-time. So what I'm about to say isn't to exclude him, but it's more of like the challenges come on those long days. When you're when you've maybe sold 50 hot dogs and you've been out for 12 hours and you know you're going to miss bedtime that night because you haven't seen your kid, and you just started, like, you just don't know. You don't know what's in front of you. But I will say, just to wrap this up, is that we were prepared. I had everything I needed. We were marketing heavily at that time. We had kind of found our lane as far as how we market and promote, which is me acting like a schmuck in front of the camera. And, the other stuff just comes from practice and repetition and maintaining our morals and our expectations for ourselves, so that comes through to the guest. So those are the challenges, things that we experienced at the beginning, was just, building, just, being by yourself in a parking lot, Silver Spring, and hoping people show up.
A theater major. Who would have thought that?
Oh yeah, that's not abundantly clear. I guess I should say, and I don't normally admit to it, but yeah, it's not abundantly clear by me dancing around in a hot dog suit and a cannon.
So what was that? Did you think about having a career in theater? I actually did theater in high school.
Oh, sweet. Well, there you go, man. Then you get it. Anybody who's stood on a stage in front of 150 to, in my case, the most people I ever performed in front of was over 100,000 people. It's like, if you've done that, you get a little bit of it. No, I like you. I did the theater in high school. My oldest brother, who I mentioned before, he amongst a lot of things, but that he wasn't the athlete, but he did the plays and whatnot. So I followed him doing that, but I also followed my other brother Billy, who was a professional athlete, played arena ball and the European Football League and whatnot. So I was being an athlete with him and being an actor with Michael. But when I didn't get invited to the football team, but had accepted going to the one university that accepted me, I went there, and I kind of did the freshman year thing where I was just trying to find my way. You guys can fill in the blank with whatever I was doing to not go to class or whatnot. But second semester, I chose to enroll in an acting 1 class. And I mean, I'd like to say like the rest is history, just to gloss over it, but it kind of is. I got lucky. I auditioned. It was a very small program at the time. Very fortunate. I'm very proud of WestCon. That program has really, really gotten huge. It's a premier New England theater and performance program with an incredible arts school around it that, when I was on my way out, they were in the planning stages and the development stages of that building being built and making that program become what it was. But yeah, that's what I found my way doing. And I found my way into the theater program. Graduated with my degree, my BA in theater arts, and then went on. I'm sitting on my SAG card right now. I did some off-Broadway, did some commercials, did a couple very, 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 very small movies that you probably could not find right now. But yeah, we made a run of it, man. I think the thing I'm most proud of now as a 43-year-old hot dog guy is turning on my TV and occasionally I see the guys and some of the gals that I actually performed with. That I worked with on my way through, that they kept going and they found it. They found it. They got that one moment. So
yeah, I mean, fans at Maryland games get to see a little bit of that. You mentioned, going down on the floor of the field and shooting off the hot dog cannons. How did the partnership with Maryland Athletics start, and then who let you get a hot dog cannon and shoot hot dogs into the stands? Because I love watching it.
That's a great question. Thanks for asking. I have a gentleman by the name of John. He's going to kill me because I'm going to butcher his last name again. John Finneran of Fintel Communications. He is a booster within the University of Maryland Athletics program. He's a longstanding member of the Turpin Club, part of the PG alum, MoCo alum group. Just had lunch with him the other day. I met John early on in the Catalyst days. I want to say we were either a year old or less than a year old, but around there. And he offered me his services, which was he developed and built a website for us, which was far better than the Wix baloney I put up there that was doing nothing for me. And he built us a website. In that time, and again, this is now 4 or so years ago, he was fortunate, or I was fortunate that he shared with me, I'm involved in the University of Maryland, we could work something out, we could book somebody, blah, 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 blah. Well, fast forward a few years later, we started our partnership as the food partner for Denizens Brewing Company right up the street there in Riverdale from campus. And at that point, then it was a little more feasible for us to really be involved on campus. John coordinated a meeting with us. We actually became a member of the Terrapin Club. Shout out Kirby Mills. Hey, Kirby. Good to see you, buddy. Been a long time. And we got ourselves in a Terrapin Club and then met some of the partners from Maryland Sports Properties, who manages your facilities. And that's how we got involved with them. We had our first season with just basketball. And we didn't have an activation in that first year. That was 3 years ago now. They were just putting our name on a banner, and give us a shout out at some point in the game. It wasn't until the second year when I'll be perfectly frank, I was like, hey guys, this is costing a lot of money. I got to do something at it. It's like, how can I do something? And whether it was my idea or Matt Rummel is one of the heads over to MSP. He's my guy there. Jordan Johnson, she's an angel. She's amazing with them as well. Matt and I talked through, and he said, all right, if you buy it, you could do it. So I bought the cannon. and we did some test runs, not on campus with it. We figured out what we had to do, which involves not shooting hot dogs by themselves out of the cannon, because that's a disaster. But we wrapped them up in T-shirts, and that's what we do. It's a lot of fun. It's truly probably the highlight of any day that we get to do it. It's the best part of the day.
Speaking of that day, can you kind of take me through what a game day in your life is like? What time are you waking up, and how long is a day for you? What goes into it?
Yeah, thanks for that. That's a great one too, man. Thank you so much. Because and I say thank you because a lot of the times, what we do, people just kind of think we, in the case with the trailers, they're like, yeah, just show up and sling hot dogs and go home. Like it's like 2 hours before that and 2 hours after it, and not to mention the labor and the booking and blah 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 blah. I actually just got off the phone with one of my colleagues, Paul, and we were talking about Sunday. So for example, Sunday's a conference game for men's basketball. It's a 1 o'clock tip, I think, is what I saw, which means it's an 11:30 gate. And we're contractually obligated to be open at least 15 minutes before gates. Notice how I'm doing this. I just kind of go backwards. So it's like, all right, so I got to be open at 11:30. Our base is in Rockville, about a 40-minute drive on a good day from campus. Long story, I will get us to the stadium somewhere between 45 minutes and an hour before gates open, which gives us ample amount of time. And thankfully, I have a few students, some recent graduate, and a couple still undergrads of your colleagues that work with us that are on our payroll, that are paid for their time, that earn tips, that are gaining life experience and whatnot, working with us. That was a big part of us in the beginning too, is employing students. They're not volunteers. They're making money. But they'll meet us there. So that gets us there. I mean, long story short, we'll meet at our kitchen at roughly 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. We've gotten it down to a pretty good place where we can control the controllables. We know what we need to do to put together our game plan for the day. And it's just regimented of 2 guys there. Everybody knows what to get it together. We have some things at our stand, but obviously I'm not leaving product there, dogs and fries and not dogs. They're not there. We bring all that stuff in-house on the day of. And then when a game is over, we're typically leaving the arena when the fans are leaving. We can close 5 minutes before the game's over, but we got to clean, and I got to go through paperwork with concessions, etc. Like I said, we drive 45 minutes back, so it's usually 2 hours before, 2 hours after. So call it a 4-hour outside working window, and then another 3+ hours on site for operations. And we're rocking and rolling. The one thing I want to take a moment here. I know I'm going along with you guys, but what I didn't realize before we started with Maryland is how we would build regulars as well at our stand. Now they're not there for us. They're there because they're season ticket holders. but we are part of their game day experience. They will budget their day around coming and get a Catalyst dog. A lot of our regulars are in that. We're in section 210, Xfinity Center. But a lot of our fans our regulars are based in that world, and some of them come from down below. Some of them come down from the lower bowls as well to come and see us. But yeah, that's a typical game day experience. About 7-8 hour day roughly for a 3-hour game.
Looking ahead to the future, kind of what is your vision for Catalyst, say in the next 5 years? How do you envision this company?
Thanks, Mike. I want to take a moment here to stand up for Mike as well, all right, before I go off here, because I know you guys are going to cut me short here. But I don't like how your colleagues have been treating you this year, Mike. I think your numbers, I think your takes are good. I think they come from the heart. They come from a good place, and I stand for you. I'm here. I'm Mike Stan. Okay, I'm here for you.
Someone needs to say that. Someone needs to say that.
He did lose the college football picks, though. I don't know.
That's okay. That's not going to change. That's not going to change life. I lost a couple things in my DraftKings too. It's okay. It's fugazi. It's gone. But Mike, I'm with you. Okay. I wasn't great at math either, and I turned out okay. All right. So, but to answer your question, Mike, the next 5 years. We recently shared that we've been approved for an SBA loan, Small Business Administration, which has been a process. It's taken us quite a long time, but we did find the right person that helped us and advocated for us, and we've been approved for a loan. We are in a lease negotiation process on a property that I'm not ready to announce yet, but it's in Montgomery County. It's not far from campus. It's in our world of where Catalyst has grown and built over these last 5 years. We did just announce that we're going to do an investor drive. As I mentioned, we are funded, but I wanted to somehow correlate and bring in our guests and the people that have been a part of us building over the last 5 years. So now we started with a crowdfunding campaign 5 years ago. That was just you giving us money, and I had to open with that. You didn't get that money back. You got a T-shirt, right? Now you can invest in Catalyst. So it's roughly it's like a 9.86% return over 3 years on your investment. That drive is starting on February the 3rd, so a week from yesterday. Well, I don't know when this day is there, but next Tuesday, February the 3rd, that goes live. And that's going to help part of the cost because, I was just reading an email of how much these fryers are going to cost me. Like everything costs a ton of money, guys. It does. But that's the next step is opening our location. That has been long overdue, and I just I yearn for having that home base that we can continue to build our community. And then from there, I foresee us finding another college town somewhere down, maybe a little farther south, staying in the Mid-Atlantic. I got, something in my head of where we could go. And, maybe we end up in Happy Valley. Maybe we're down in Charlottesville. I don't know. But I like the idea of staying in a college community. I would stop short of calling College Park a college town, but a college community. Where there is commerce built around it, things of that nature, and then kind of growing from there. Really what it comes down to is like we're an affordable option, and we want to continue to be an affordable option for the families, for the students, for the high school kids on their first date, for the neons on their break, whoever it may be. But we want to be there and be that option for them, be it next 5 years or even beyond.
Very well. Before we let you go, a lot of listeners of this podcast are obviously Maryland people. For people who have maybe not been to your stand, what is a Jersey dog?
That's a good question, buddy. So if you look at like the Sausage and Hot Dog Council, which is a real thing, they exist. I think they would tell you like a New Jersey hot dog is this pizza bread filled with peppers and onions and potatoes and ketchup and a couple chopped up hot dogs, deep fried, tossed into the pizza thing. And you'd get that at a place called Dickie D's in Newark, Jimmy Buff's in, South Orange. That's what you would find there. For me, the definitive Jersey dog, you could either rip it like you would do at Rutt's Hut where they deep fry it, which we do occasionally. We can rip them at the stands. We got fryers there too. Normally I'm grilling them there. We do rip them on our big trailer for the Isle of Ruts. But for me, it comes down to 3 simple ingredients, not including a damn good hot dog in a blind. Proud mustard, Texas chili sauce, raw onions. That's a Jersey dog. That's the all the way. I'm not going to blow your microphones, but what all the way? That's what it is. I make our Texas chili sauce. It's darn tasty. It's arguably the thing I'm most proud of. But that's a Jersey dog, the all the way.
And why is a hot dog a sandwich?
It's meat between bread. It's that simple. Don't remember, I stood up for you a second ago, Michael. I can take those words back. Okay? I can. It's meat. No, but seriously, you guys are all smart. You want to get into cube rules. It's a taco. It's this. I'm trying not to, drop any expletives here. I'm sure this is a university-backed program as well. But come on, it's meat between bread. And don't get me started on, the meat it's not separated. Guys, I just made myself a breaded chicken cutlet, mozzarella, prosciutto, and arugula sandwich, okay? And the bread was still like this. I worked 4 years at Vicentini Brothers Deli in Lodi, New Jersey, okay? I know a thing or two about making sandwiches. You don't always have to cut it whole. A hot dog is a sandwich.
Very well. Very, very well. Well, on that note, we're happy to kind of come back to our under the shell roots, kind of what goes into all the aspects of Maryland athletics. So, Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
This was really, truly the highlight of my day, guys. I really appreciate it when you reached out to me, said you want to have me on. I was flattered. I'm proud of you guys. I really appreciate it. I did say this. I've been a listener. I've listened to every episode. I'm really proud of everything you guys have done. Stand that line. Hold that line. Go Terps and no one else.
Wow, it's been over a month, almost a month and a half since we last recorded. It's been more than a month since you guys graduated. We've missed a lot of interesting stuff within Maryland athletics. I think saying good stuff would be an overstatement. It's been a fascinating 6 weeks. Not much has gone right. Let's start with, unfortunately, I have to say, the men's basketball program. It has not looked good. What's been your biggest takeaway over the past 6 weeks?
Just not enough star power. I mean, we all kind of knew this. What?
Enough talent, it feels like, even more than superpower, I would say.
I mean, the Diggy Coit 43-point game, that was fun to watch. And that was a bright moment and a really tough stretch to open this new year for the Terps. But like Sam said, not enough stars, not enough just talent in general. This is a pretty thin roster. Injuries across the board. Best player hasn't played in the new year. It's just been disappointing. And I know for a lot of Maryland fans who have not seen losing for a long time, to have a losing record now for the third time in this 2020 decade, it's not happy times.
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like there actually has been a decent amount of losing here recently, but I think for a proud program like Maryland, this recent run, I mean, save for the, Crab 5 last year, between Willard's departure, the ugly year in year 2 for him, Mark Turgeon really down the stretch, it was pretty bad. And now this season, it feels like this program is really teetering on the border of kind of fading into not irrelevancy, but I think a lot of apathy. And I think, Brendan, that's my biggest takeaway with this team. And right now is that there is just not much for fans in modern college basketball, and particularly this Maryland team, to care about if your team is losing. Like before, absolutely. If you had a team, a guy like Darius Adams, right? You could watch Darius Adams progress and be like, okay, like we're losing a bunch of games, but we have this freshman who's really starting to turn a corner. He's playing well, or getting better and playing well. And we can see him taking that leap in his sophomore year to really emerge as a prime time player. We also have these young guys that we're seeing, really contribute, and they're not good right now, but at least, we can see a future. There's none of that, it feels like, with this team and with modern day hoops, because you're just as likely for them to transfer or to exit this offseason as they are to return to College Park next year. And I think that the added factor of that is that none of these guys are from the DMV. There's no real connection to any of these players. I couldn't tell you a single player. I don't think this team in total has nearly as much of an emotional tie to the fan base as a player like Julian Reese did, Derek Queen, even guys like, you could talk about 1-year transfers who came in, that were born in the DMV. Rodney Rice, he was only here for a year, but at least he was from the area and really could draw back on that. There's none of that with this squad. And so I think that this team, not only is it one of the worst in Maryland histories, you could argue it is the worst in at least modern day Terps hoops. But it also just feels like there's so much apathy amongst the fan base. I couldn't tell you the last time I went onto Twitter and saw people talking about a Maryland hoops game. Like, there's no interest in the program right now. And I think that not only speaks to what Mike talked about with this team just not having enough talent, but I think it also speaks to just where the program is and where modern day hoops is. And I think that that's something that Buzz Williams should be severely worried about.
I think you make a fantastic point. There's a lot of people on a lot of message boards who are very upset. And I say you should probably pump the brakes on that a little bit. But my biggest takeaway from, I think Mike said it from the past 6 weeks or whatever, is unless Diggy Coit turns into gold medal game Steph Curry from the Olympics from 2024, unless he's that version of himself, they're not winning games. Unless Diggy Coit is the most insane three-point shooter of all time, which happens, somehow it's happened one in every 8 games, they're not going to win. He's before the Michigan State game, I think I thought to myself, unless Diggy Coit has 50 points, they're not winning this game. And that's not a realistic lifestyle or way to win a basketball game, obviously. People are very upset, and I think the biggest frustration in normal times, if you had a really down year, like Sam was saying, you could point to some of the Maryland guys, you could point to a freshman. Maryland has a very good recruiting class coming in next year for freshmen. But as Sam was saying, who really cares? And it's hard to put a lot of stock in that in modern day college basketball because, 20 years ago, you had a really good freshman class. It meant you might be really good for 4 years and so on and so forth. Nowadays, you have a really good freshman class. Great. There's G Leaguers playing college basketball, so who cares?
Yeah. Now, how much of these struggles do you guys pin on Buzz? Because, again, he comes in the offseason. He has to string together a roster. The Maryland thing, there's not enough Maryland natives on the team. I get that. But, how much of these struggles on the court do you think you give to Buzz?
I think it's a fair question. And I'll point to the team that he left. What is Texas A&M doing right now, guys? I'll tell you what, they're first in the SEC, and I think 14-3 before we left, or before we recorded, my apologies. Villanova, the team that Maryland's arch nemesis took over, and he got it to the transfer portal almost as late as Buzz Williams did. He didn't bring any players from Maryland other than Tafara Gapare, who's not even on the team, and Braden Pierce, who I don't think is playing at all. And he's got Villanova humming again for the first time in a few years. Yes, it was a tough situation that Buzz Williams took over, absolutely. And I think that it would have been, I was saying before the year, I think it's tough for this team to make the NCAA tournament. But for how bad it is right now and just how miserable this squad has been to watch, I don't think it's unfair at all to say that a majority of this blame goes on Buzz. And this is a major indictment, I think, for him, even though it's year one, even though it's not his guys. He added these players in the portal. He put this roster together. That ultimately falls on you. And in a sport like Brennan said, where everything is instant gratification, you better be good right away, that he's not delivering. And I think that speaks to a lot of the failures that they've had.
I think it's funny because before the Michigan game, which was the last time we recorded, what I was saying was, this team hasn't been great. They've been very injured. And it was a light point, but if they can actually win this Michigan game, they're getting Solomon Washington back. A lot of the team hadn't played at that point. But you can blame some of it to Pharrell Payne not playing. I mean, if he's playing in the Big Ten, what does that add? At this point, maybe it adds 3 or 4 wins, maybe 2.
I don't think 3 or 4.
It wouldn't have mattered that. Yeah, it's adding an insignificant amount of wins. I think by far the most disappointing thing has been Miles Rice. I mean, I think when this guy transferred, people were thinking, this is going to be the best guard on this team. He's going to be leading this team offensively, defensively, as a voice. I mean, really, I think he's averaged somewhere around 15 minutes in per game in Big Ten play. It's around that number, and just hasn't really been able to score at all. I think, same thing, averaging less than 5 points a game in Big Ten play, or maybe slightly more than that because he's a little bit better in the Michigan game. But, really has not lined up to expectations at all, and that has absolutely destroyed this team. I mean, you can say that about a lot of players, but Miles Rice, Pharrell Payne, Solomon Washington were really kind of supposed to be the core of this team, and when only, you're just not getting any production, it's brutal.
Yeah. I still I don't feel as much panic as I see on some of the takes on Twitter. I think Payne's going to redshirt. He's going to come back next year. I think Darius Adams is going to take that step up from freshman year to sophomore year. I think he's going to have a big improvement. And then you have Baba coming in, a 7-footer who plays like Kevin Durant. Like, if that's your top 3 on your team next year, that's pretty good. At the same time, though, Buzz has to coach them up. I don't think he's coached up this roster enough with a bunch of guys who, in the offseason, you said maybe had some potential to take a step up. So I do think there's that. But roster next year shapes out to be good, even if it's just Adams and Baba.
I mean, but who else? If you look at the roster right now, and you look at, obviously some guys are going to be out of eligibility. Who else would you say you want back?
Yeah, I was just gonna say
Andre Mills. I think Andre Mills.
I think Andre Mills. But George Turkson has looked really good in spurts. But what are we doing here?
I mean, guys, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about
George. It's Turkson. January.
Bringing George Turkson back, who's averaging 1.5 points per game and shooting 31% from the field. Andre Mills playing 23 minutes a game, shooting 37%. I think the best thing that Maryland could do is I agree with Mike, scratch Darius Adams and Pharrell Payne if they want to come back, which I could paint the opposite picture. How likely is it that Pharrell Payne wants to come back and play in Maryland, or Darius Adams wants to return again? I think it's just as likely that those guys... Pharrell Payne likely
because of Buzz. I mean, he followed Buzz from A&M.
Yeah, I guess Buzz.
Buzz has his guys like that. Buzz has his guys.
I could very easily see Darius Adams dipping in the offseason. I have no insight on that. That's just speculation, but I think that I could very easily see it.
That would be a massive blow. Massive.
Yeah, it would be.
That can't happen. That can't happen to them. If Darius Adams goes in the portal.
We're acting like Darius Adams is like.
This is all time depressing from Under the Shell podcast.
It's Darius Adams.
January 26th.
Also,
we are talking about if Darius Adams and Andre Mills and George Turkson are going to be
shooting 24.7% from the field and 33% from 3.
I remember, though, Kevin Willard's second season in College Park, he misused the transfer portal. We talked about it. He didn't do a good job. He came back the next year and built a team that went to the Sweet 16.
I completely agree.
It could, yeah, and that's what I was trying to get to before I fell into Darius Adams, wormhole. But for as much as we can criticize how the transfer portal additions didn't work this year, it could very easily flip next year. That's best thing about modern college basketball is just because you have one really bad year doesn't mean you're guaranteed to follow up with another terrible season. Like, Buzz could go get a few high-level additions in the portal. Baba could be, according to Michael, the next Kevin Durant. And then you have a good team right there. Just get a Russell Westbrook in the portal, maybe a James Harden, and we'll basically be running out the Thunder from the primetime days.
I'm not sure how much you guys have looked into it. How many points do you think Diggy Court is averaging a game?
15.
I think he's at
Mike knows. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it's like 15 or something.
Yeah, you would think he would be so much more given the fact that he's had some games where he's put up 40, but there's also games where he shoots 1-7 from 3.
Yeah.
What is going on?
But I mean, this is what I will say. Let's lay out, because we talked enough about the offseason. We'll have a ton of time. If you each had to give one reason why Maryland fans should still, in any shape or form, be interested in listening to us, tuning into a Maryland basketball game to hear about, why should I care about this team moving forward? What would it be for you? We'll start with you, B.
Honestly, I'm so speechless.
Tough scenes.
No, I'm. Do you have an answer to this, Sam? You gave it a possible answer, to watch Elijah Saunders? Are you serious?
Elijah Saunders.
No disrespect to any of these guys, but if you're no one is switching the channel to Big Ten Network to watch Colin Metcalf. I'm just being honest.
No,
I mean that as respectfully as possible.
100%. But I think that really the only couple of things that you're looking at I think you're looking at the two guards Michael mentioned, Andre Mills, Darius Adams. Like, those two are probably, other than Payne, but you kind of know who Payne is, and he's not going to play. Like, those guys are the two pieces that you could look at and maybe be like, hey, there's a glimpse of hope there. Can Andre Mills improve his three-point shot? Can Darius Adams continue to show control and comfortability playing out of pick and rolls? He looks a lot better, now later in the year than he did earlier. But I think the main thing that I'm watching, Buzz Williams uses a ton of buzzwords, no pun intended. Like, it's all about the culture. Hey, we're not making
culture UMD.
We're making progress. It's not in the wins and losses department, but I can't even say the ridiculousness of some of these guys' quotes.
They're hilarious. They're so funny.
He's got players out in the tunnel instead of in the locker room at halftime. I mean, what a ridiculous thing that was.
It worked. It worked.
What,
are they going to start climbing up to the rafters at halftime and climbing back down?
It literally didn't work. They gave up like a 15-0 run after.
They're going to go outside in the snow, run a lap around the Xfinity Center, and come back in for the second half? I mean, the real answer to your question, Sam, is Diggy Coy. That's the answer. He can turn into prime Steph Curry at any drop of a hat, and that was super fun to watch against Penn State. But at the end of the day, it's like that's why you should tune into games, if I'm being honest.
What I was going to say was like...
He said he knew he could have gotten the record, but decided not to, just cause. But do you think it would have been better for this team if they lost the game and he got the record?
What a crazy thing to say.
Do you think it would have been better? I mean,
I wish we were doing around the horn. I would mute his mic right now.
You're on a lifeline for fan support right now, and that guy gets the record, everybody will be talking about it. Maybe it's a little bit of buzz.
Think about it, though. Now fans will tune in because the record's still available for him to get. People wouldn't tune in. He already has the record. I don't watch Diggy Court. Yeah,
I don't think the Big Ten team is going to let him score 30 points again this season.
Yeah, they could play Penn State in the Big Ten tournament.
They're not making the Big Ten tournament. There's no
No, they are. Every team makes it this year.
What? They changed it this year?
They're going to Chicago. Yep.
Oh my God! No. the one
Sam,
year that
they could still make the big dance because they could win the.
Can you imagine that?
If Pharrell Payne comes back,
that might be the most.
Pharrell Payne, Derek Queen, Rodney Rice, and Jacoby Gillespie.
If LeBron James played on this team, they wouldn't make the NCAA tournament.
That's completely false.
Anyway, what I was saying was that I think you got to watch and see how well Buzz's culture holds up, right? Is this team still playing hard? Are they still giving a legitimate effort, or is it kind of deteriorating down the stretch? I think that's something to watch for sure, because that's all the man preaches right now is how good the culture is and how he's trying to build it in year one. So we'll see. Let's move on to the other side of the ball. Let's talk about Maryland women's hoops. The Terps are better than the men's team. Not hard to do that. But, guys, I think injuries and just overall play has kind of deteriorated a bit. This team is still ranked 17-4. They, I believe, are 16th in the country. You can fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure I saw that. They're hanging in there. Brenda's got them playing okay, but I'm not as high as I was going into the break on them long term as I was before. Would you guys agree with that? And just in general, where are you at prospects wise on this Terps team?
This is what happens when you just got a lot of contributors who go down. Your leading scorer from last year, Kayleen Schmeichel, down. Poffenbarger's missed some time. Leah Bartolome, starting to start the season as a freshman, goes down. Even Ava McKinney, that's a depth piece, goes down. Rainey Wilson has a concussion. Like, this team cannot stay healthy, and it feels a little bit like a cursed season almost. And
do they practice next to an electrical substation? Like, what's going on?
I mean, they started the year out. They didn't lose until the new year. They didn't lose.
And in the new year, they are 3-4.
They've lost, I think, like 3 of their last 4, I want to say.
To be fair, their schedule's been tough. I mean, they played Ohio State, they played UCLA, they played Iowa. All their losses are to very solid ranked teams. They're not, it's not like they got picked off. So, they lost to Illinois, but that, other than that, like they've lost to mostly overall very solid teams. I mean, my prediction on this team is that they're not going to host a NCAA tournament game. I think with the rest of the season, they're gonna drop some more games.
You don't think they're going to host?
I do not know.
How many teams can host?
Well, 16 teams host. The one seeds, 2 seeds, 3 seeds, 4 seeds all host.
The top 4
I just
seeds.
I just think they're going to keep slipping back because they're gonna drop some more games. It's just kind of inevitable at this point. They have 3, 6, 7, 8 games to go. I think they'll probably get 5 wins there.
Are you going?
I think this is a very solid team. They could easily make the Sweet 16 when Luci's playing well and Saylor's playing well and Addie's playing well. They're one of the best teams in the country. The issue is they haven't been able to get consistent production out of all of their best players on the same nights. So,
Are you guys
tough.
worried? Are you worried about Addie Mack? Let me just read the stats from the past 7 games. 4 points, 4 points, 15, 3, 12, 12, 5. She has not shot above 50% from the field since Friday on December 19th. So over a month ago was the last.
Which was
time.
against Central Connecticut State at 11 in the morning.
Yeah, she went 2 for 4 against Illinois, so check that.
Yeah.
But I mean, 4 attempts. She was this team's prime scorer there for a little bit, and I feel like she's definitely hit somewhat of a freshman wall, which I think is concerning because she's really one of the only scoring punches they have in terms of guard play. Especially with Bree out the rest of the year now, Schmeichel, like. Where are you getting your scoring from if Addie Mack isn't really delivering? So they gotta figure her. They gotta get her figured out. Lucci's played really well.
Good. Lucci has.
She's been really, really good.
Yeah. Yarden's also had a couple really good games recently, but
yeah, Lucci's been awesome. But I think she's obviously this team's number 1 at this point. But I just mean in terms of like guard creation, Kendall Walker actually I think has played solid. Like
she has played well.
She got 15 points against Iowa, but her minutes just fluctuate so heavily, and that's the thing too with this team is like you're really now down to 8 rotation players. That's how many they played in an overtime game against the Hawkeyes. The game before I think they played 9 players.
It's just such a bummer.
Yeah,
at the beginning of the year, you were looking like this team could play anybody on the entire team, could get a lot of minutes. And but once you're injured and you're getting to Big Ten play, it's like it's just not as simple as it was earlier in the year.
It's the second straight year I feel like where we came into the season being like, oh my God, Maryland has so much depth, and we leave the season being like they have like 7 players that like Brenda trusts.
This team could legitimately have won the national championship, or they could have made it to the Final Four. I think is probably more realistic to say, but you never know. Like they were a Final Four team, probably all healthy. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
And not saying they won't, but it's really hard. They could make the Sweet 16. I think that's probably their ceiling at this point. Mm. And that's, given the injuries to their roster, it's a successful season. But I think, given the talent you brought in, like Yarden Garzon could have been a major contributor, but because of the role she's had to play with injuries, it's just players are having to play more minutes than they probably should have to play. And it's lowering their overall production. It's just what happens. It's the grind of the season. I think this is a very solid team. They're going to continue to win games, but when you're missing so many key contributors, like we keep saying it, but it's just not that simple.
By the way, Brendan, you were right. Maryland currently projected to be a 5 seed according to ESPN's bracketology, and you look at their trend. I mean, it's just shot downhill. So we'll see. The schedule does lighten up a little bit.
No, they played good teams.
Going forward, but I'm kind of on the same page with you. It just feels like there's so much working against this team that they're really going to have to kind of scrap together some big time showings to kind of stay pace with their preseason expectations. But Brenda's one of the best coaches in the country. Like there's still talent on this team, no question.
Oh yeah.
Lucci, Yarden and Saylor is a really good 1 through 3 punch. Addie's as good of a freshman scorer she's shown as there is in the country. And then Izzy Amoso, I'm bad. I'm sorry. I apologize for mispronouncing her name. I'm just going to say Izzy. She's played good minutes as a forward for them as a big. I've really liked what she's given them. So definitely some talent there. We'll see what Brenda can do moving forward.
Hopefully she's healthy. I mean, she went down last game. I don't think there's been an update on that. Like it's just, I made the joke about the electrical substation. They've just gotten so unlucky.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It was a good joke.
Thanks,
Mike. Okay, speaking of football-related jokes, let's talk Terps football. There's been some news in the transfer portal and in the coaching portal. Break it down for us.
Let's start with the coaching changes. Coach Kyle Schmidt has come in from Archbishop Spalding, friend of the show. Coach Malik Washington, the 3 straight MIA titles. He's going to be the tight ends coach for the Terps. And then for the Terps, you've also had some departures in the transfer portal. Some people coming back. Let's start with the departures. You're losing your right guard, Alu Ba. You are losing running back Nolan Ray. You also are losing Traquan Jones, a running back who never played a game for the Terps, but committed and then decommitted from Maryland. He rushed for 792 yards with Old Dominion. Dylan Funtis, another transfer portal departure. Lakai Rowland, of course, everybody remembers that 100-yard pick six he had. But other than that, there hasn't really been that many additions to the team, I would say, that I'm pretty excited about. I think you kind of strengthened the O-line with Telek Lockett, a lineman from Texas State. But other than that, not too many guys where I can be like, oh, they got 2 receivers, one from Old Dominion, one from Wyoming, but nobody pops out as, oh, he can be Malik's number 1 option next year.
Who was the guy who entered the transfer portal, left the transfer portal, went back in the transfer portal?
Aluba.
That's what I thought, yeah. He's going to LSU. I mean, he was one of the best O-linemen in the Big Ten.
In the Big Ten might be a stretch.
No, he wasn't one of the best in the Big Ten. No shot.
You don't think?
I don't think any of Maryland's offensive
my bad.
line, but I think he was like one of their top offensive linemen for sure.
He couldn't run block, though.
No, terrible run block.
Okay, noted.
As 99% of Maryland.
Will he play at LSU?
Shout out Kiffin.
Transferring there, yeah.
Make LSU great again.
I understand he's on the roster, but
I think the team really focused on just retaining talent. I mean, you keep everybody that you wanted, really.
They did.
So, am I shocked they didn't bring
Sean O'Hare's coming back? Big news.
Am I shocked they didn't bring any, big fish from the portal?
No receivers felt a little big time receivers felt a little surprising. Maybe they're waiting for the spring to do that. I don't know.
I mean,
it's not.
So
it's not all cooked.
The Old Dominion receiver, he was a Sun Belt honorable mention.
That's what we're dealing with as Washington.
Third junior from Wyoming.
Who's Malik's wide receiver 1 right now?
Sidney Stewart. I have no idea.
I don't know.
This is who
Probably Dorian Fleming.
This is January 26th, and we're talking about how the men's basketball team
probably
has no hope, and the football team has no wide receivers.
I'm not gonna lie, this team is gonna be bad again next year. I'm just calling it right now.
Okay.
Let's just rip our takes off while we're still one semester to go. This team is gonna finish 5-7. This is a terrible roster again.
Terrible roster.
They're gonna have a really tough time making a bowl game because they play UConn and Virginia Tech out of conference. They're at best going 1-1 there. UConn is very good. They're hungry because Maryland blew them out 2 years ago. There's not a chance James Franklin is losing to the University of Maryland.
Nobody hypes up a Maryland UConn game like Brendan Marcel went Under the Shell, baby. Yeah.
I'm doing what I can here. They'll win whatever their third game is against a random team. They're the best there is 1-1, which means they need to get 4 wins in the Big Ten. I have not looked at their schedule. I'm going to pull that up now, but has Loxley ever done that well? I don't know. Maybe they got 4 wins once.
But I'm not going to lie. I don't even care if they played a cupcake schedule. This roster is not good. Again, they add Zion Ely and everyone's like, oh my God, what it up? He's not going to be like Micah Parsons as a Cowboy. I don't know what to tell you.
Wait. What is the most wins Loxley has in the Big Ten?
He went 4-5 a couple times.
4-5. So it's possible. Illinois, Penn State, Rutgers, UCLA, Wisconsin, Nebraska, Ohio State, Purdue, USC. They have to be. Weird. What are we doing?
Analysis in January.
Illinois is a loss. Penn State's probably a loss. Wisconsin's a loss.
Are you really trying to tell me that this is legitimately decent roster right now? If things change, great. But
they'll beat Hampton for sure.
Who are you looking at on this team and being like, wow, I'm excited about them? Other than Zion and the 3 sophomores.
I mean, the big thing is they brought everybody back.
Who was
So
everybody? This team was terrible.
They're gonna have to play like the Patriots. They're gonna have to win games 7-3.
you needed to bring back Malik. You needed to bring back Dorian Fleming. You needed to bring back Sidney and Zahir.
Is Wingate back?
Wingate's coming back.
Okay, that's a
The
big
big
addition.
thing is this team hit a massive milestone on January 1st that nobody talks about. Do you know what was that milestone on January 1st?
That was Michael Loxley's buyout. New
Yeah.
year, baby. New
Yeah.
year, new buyout.
It goes down from $3 million to $1.5 million now. This year he can get fired.
He's done if they don't have a good year
Yeah,
for
he's
sure.
gone. He's absolutely gone. So
It's kind of a nightmare scenario because we just trolled about the schedule, but in a hypothetical scenario where they win 6 games or 7 games total, like, is he back?
Gone. Get him
No.
out of here.
You think? How many wins is Loxley issue to return?
At least 7, and I would say 8. Yeah.
eh,
All right. This is the final question.
This is diabolical, guys.
the final question.
Truthfully.
of football before we move on.
we're about half a year into Jim Smith's tenure as athletic director here at Maryland. Would you say it's been a little worse, much worse, equal to, a little bit better, or much better than how you expected this school's athletics would be?
Well, are we grading off of what?
This is a really interesting. I don't know how you grade this.
Are we grading off of like his performance as AD? Would you say, Mike?
How the athletics have been? Like the athletics, I don't. He's not on the field.
Yeah.
Okay, so how
I don't, he's not dropping interceptions or doing seatbelt celebrations. Like what?
are you just grading his tenure then overall so far?
I would say slightly worse. Maybe between slightly worse and much worse. Like I think he kind of bungled the Loxley situation. I don't think he handled that extremely well. I know he wasn't here for Buzz Williams' hiring, so you can't really grade him off that. But I'm just gonna blame him because that process was so bad in terms of like who is running that operation. And I mean, they're not even here anymore, other than Dr. Pines. You know, like this tenure has been really defined at most by social media posts. And you know, the thing that you can give him positives for, he brought back Malik. He obviously raised enough money to do that. Got Zion and you know, Sidney and Zahir and those guys. So you get bonuses for that. But I don't think one team has outperformed expectations into his tenure. And
men's soccer, but would you credit him with that? Like
No,
it's hard to say, right? Like
No.
it's tough to judge athletic directors because he hasn't really made a hire yet, you know. But I would say that just into so far, like things have been not great, and I don't feel like there's a concrete plan for like the big thing, which is like funding to go up. I still haven't seen anything where he's like, yeah, we've turned this into this, and we're gonna do this, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
you know, I think it's hard to say. Like the product on the field is tough. Like how much of that is his fault? None, probably. I would say, as Sam said, he hasn't done any hirings. He also hasn't done any firings. He did actually a lot of extensions of coaches, but once again, that's like he gets here, their contracts are up. The people that have been working at Maryland tell him they're good, and he's going to extend them like that. That I don't fault at all. I mean, I think you could make a legitimate case that Adam Hughes and Loxley should be fired, and he didn't do that.
He's been fired yet? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
And we're not even going to talk about it, but the women's volleyball team lost a lot of their best players to the transfer portal. That's all I have to say about women's volleyball. I'll probably never talk about them ever again on this podcast because we're never going to have a season where they're going. Anyways, I think the one thing I was impressed by is that Loxley's asked for like the shell to be sold out so many times, and when it needed to be, Jim Smith did the right stuff to get it sold out for the Washington game. That was a huge moment. And it's not his fault that they lost, right? Like, I give him kudos for, getting the stands full. He did what he could. And then, the product on the field is not his fault. If Maryland wins those games, as we all recall, they were 5 plays away from being 7-0. Then you're looking at a completely different thing. The fan base is totally revitalized. I think he's done a lot of things in that sense. But it's tough when the teams aren't winning. No one's going to like you when the teams are losing. It doesn't matter. You're the greatest athletic director of all time. If the football team is losing and the men's basketball team are losing, no one cares. So
Until then, we're just waiting for his first fire. I think that's going to be like the first big thing we're able to like analyze and break down from him.
did Maryland get announced they moved on from Kelly Hovland? Like that, it depends on who they fire. There's certain things that move the needle and certain things that don't move the needle, Mike. Speaking of sports, what were we going to say?
Where is the hot seat at for all these coaches right now?
I don't know if I can do this game. I don't even know. Who is the hottest seat? Adam Hughes, probably, right?
It's either Hughes or Loxley.
I remember Sam asked me who I thought would, like, if there would be over under how many firings. I thought one of them would be gone. I do remember, like, 3 days ago we talked and we're like, let's try to have more efficient episodes. And now we're 37 minutes in talking about who's on the hottest seat. So maybe I'll rein us back in.
We've been gone. A lot has happened.
So we got a ton to recap. I'm not faulting anybody. I'm just saying it's hilarious. I'm just saying there's not much positive going on in Maryland athletics. Like, it's just unfortunate. There's not much for us good to cover. I'll say that.
That's why we're going to do a short little Maryland baseball preview right now.
No way. Oh, yeah. Actually, no. Fade that. Oh, my God. Let me give you guys 2 quick hits on some of the Olympic sports, and then I'm going to give you some exciting news for Sam. First, wrestling. Jackson Smith seeks a medical red shirt. He had been probably the best wrestler Maryland had in the past couple of years. He'll be out for the season. Definitely dampers their chances to, have the same impact they had in the previous NCAA tournament. And then, this is the big news, Mike. The women's gymnastic team is back into the top 25.
Hey!
The only positive news ever, except they did it after a loss. They're 4-1. They beat George Washington, Long Island, New Hampshire. They then beat Washington to start Big Ten play, and they barely lost to Penn State back on Saturday. They did post a program record in floor. They're off to a strong start, and that's good for the program. We'll see how they can keep it up. But the fact that they're in the rankings this early in the season, big old thumbs up from me. Yeah. But that's all I got on the Olympic sports. Let's share the biggest news of all. It's that Sam Jane, I hate to say this, has won the 2025 college football pick. So shout out to him.
Yes. Pretty fun college football bowl season. None of us predicted the national champion, right? I did have Indiana in the title game, though, so that was on the money. But that was the best national championship we've gotten in a while. Impressive stuff.
So good.
Impressive stuff from the Hoosiers. Impressive stuff from me all year. You guys will be buying me a shirt of my choosing. I'm really looking forward to thinking about what I'm going to get. So we'll reveal that on Under the Shell next episode.
Well, Mike, last year,
He got a Dion.
Was that 2 years ago?
He got a Dion.
No, it was last year.
Last year.
Yeah. He got a Dion shirt. I'm thinking maybe a Kurt Signetti shirt with the face that he'd be making.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about a lock shirt too. Really.
Sure.
Please shirt.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Why would?
Anyway, that was good stuff. All right. Well, we're gonna do a different game other than bowl picks. This one will take us back to the action that we missed over the past month. We're each gonna come up with a question that relates to the last 30 or so days that we haven't recorded Under the Shell, and quiz each other on a piece of Maryland-related news, games, stuff like that. Mike already gave us his with the Loxley buyout. So, Brendan, why don't you take it away on something that's going down here?
Yeah, no, fans are patiently awaiting this one. I was originally going to say who was the leading scorer for Maryland women's basketball while we were gone. We talked about it. So let me hit you with this. There were 25 student athletes that had a 4.0 GPA last semester, and there were 2 teams where they had 4 athletes have a 4.0. So there were 2 different teams that each had 4 different people get a 4.0. Which 2 teams had 4 student athletes with a 4.0 last semester?
All right, Michael. Let's
Football for sure. Football for sure. Definitely did.
What a terrible take. No shot.
Okay, so football. It's football's one guess. What's the other guess?
I'm thinking teams that have big rosters. Was it Matt Swope and the Dirty Terps?
It was. You've gone over 2. I'll just let you know that.
Oh, terrible guess. All right, Brendan. Is this only fall and winter sports, or does it include spring?
No, it's everything. It's the every student athlete, but obviously.
I'll go with gymnastics.
Bang. And that's one of them.
Gymnastics and, dude, like it might be like cross country or track.
There we go. Yep. There you got them both. Nicely done, Sam. Yeah, it was cross country and gymnastics.
I'm hot.
To your point, Mike.
I didn't look at the answers.
I did not. I swear to God.
Mike, to your point about football, 8 programs had double-figure members of the dean's list, and football is not listed for that.
What?
They are listed having 29 on honor roll.
Okay. Well, I mean,
I wasn't on the honor roll or dean's list. I don't think.
Yeah, I'm just. That was my fun fact. I asked me to pick a fun fact.
I liked it.
which team had the least mentions? Copy paste the press release and scroll it into ChatGPT.
Well, it's a percentage thing because like basketball is tiny.
Okay.
Men's basketball is not mentioned, but also they don't have like. How could they have double digits in the dean's list unless every player pretty much was on the dean's list? So,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That's
women's basketball 10 on honor roll.
That's pretty impressive. What a terrible.
That's very impressive, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, terrible.
Football, Mike, get out of here.
What a
How did
terrible.
baseball do?
4.0 GPA is not easy.
How did baseball
Like,
do?
All right, guys, this is my.
all right, yeah, I'll let you know how baseball did in a second.
So since
Baseball
January,
had 15 people on the honor roll. Next, Sam, go to your quiz.
since the new year, what has been the largest margin of victory or defeat for the Maryland women's or Maryland men's basketball team? So the biggest points between the top team and the falling team, and then you have to name the opponent.
Okay, Mike, let's work together here.
Yeah.
I know it's either the men's Michigan State game or the women's Rutgers game, right?
I think it was Michigan.
Oh, and wait, was it in 2026, Sam? Or since we last recorded?
No, I said since the new year, so 2026.
Okay, 2026.
How to be the Michigan State game?
Michigan State, they got doubled up, but Rutgers, they also won by 40.
Was it one of the LA losses? For the
No, I don't think that was as bad. The UCLA loss. The USC game was very close. They actually beat USC. I'm pretty sure. Oh, God. They beat USC. I really...
think it's
I'm going to go with Michigan State. I think I'm going to go with Michigan State men's game.
Yeah. UCLA women's.
Okay, so really good guess. Brendan is obviously, I think, our trivia whiz. Brendan, it is the Rutgers game.
Oh.
The women's team won by 47 against Rutgers, and the men's team lost to Michigan State by 43.
So cumulatively between those two games, the Terps won by 4.
Yeah, or you could say the margin of victory/defeat was 100. So
Yes.
I was
Fascinating stuff.
Pretty crazy 2 40-point games, I thought, in Big Ten play. I thought that was kind of wild.
Yeah.
You don't really see that in conference, especially not in the Big Ten. So,
Well, as you said, times are changing.
that's where we're at in College Park. But anyway, we've been here long enough. Let's get to the best segment of all. Terrific Terp. We're back in 2026. B, give us our to start off the new year, our best one.
Boys, it's been snowing. We've had a snow day to start the year. You guys aren't in school, but I'll tell you what's been going on. School has still not kicked off in session, so I thought I would do a little crossover between the snow and the University of Maryland athletics, making this week's terrific Terp be Greg Harrell. Get this, as I said, former Maryland football player, and he made the 1992 Winter Olympics. He grew up in North Carolina and attended Chowan University close to his house. They're currently a D2 school, but they were a junior college when Harrell attended, and he earned NJCAA All-American his final year there on the football team as a wide receiver. Then he finally made his way to College Park. He helped the Terps win 3 bowl games and 2 ACC titles. In 1985, he signed with the San Diego Chargers, but a knee injury kept him out of football for 3 years. In those 3 years, it seems he got the brilliant idea that he could use his athletic skills for something else. In 1988, he started training to make the Olympic bobsledding team. In the next 4 years, while he played for the Los Angeles Raiders, London Monarchs, and some other arena football teams, he was training. In 1991, he won bronze and silver medals, both at the World Bobsled Championships, and then in 1992, he was geared up to make Team USA to head to France for the Winter Olympic Games. Now this gets weird. At first, he did not make the Olympic team, but he appealed the decision and it made it all the way up to the courts, and they allowed him to get another chance. The issue, Harrell claimed, is that he was not properly informed of the trial's schedule. He got a second chance, and then get this as well. He made the 1992 Olympic team alongside NFL legend Herschel Walker. Pretty wild stuff, pretty crazy, terrific Terp to start season 8. His connection with Maryland football and heading to the Olympic Games makes him this week's terrific Terp.
A past version of Charles Bediako. We love it. Going to the court to get eligibility. Good stuff.
It's always timely. It's always timely.
Yeah, exactly. Brendan always bringing it with terrific Terp. We appreciate you. Watch out for those electromagnetic plates by your practice fields, and have a good rest of your evening.
Guess what? You've got Under the Shell podcast. Nobody does it better.